Welcome! In this video I'm going to discuss Legends of Runeterra, a digital collectible card game. I'm going to discuss my first impressions of it, I'll talk about what the game is like and how it's different from Hearthstone, which is a game that I used to play quite a bit. And I will also talk about how easy it is to get into the game as a new player. Therefore, let's talk about why play this game. Why not just play Hearthstone? That's the most popular game in its genre. And as I said, I used to play Hearthstone quite a bit. I didn't really play continuously for a large amount of time, but I got back to it from time to time for a few weeks. But then I always kinda got bored of it. And I think the major factor in this is Hearthstone's monetization. There is an expansion every 4 months, and pre-ordering each expansion costs about $50, which could be a lot of money, because for that amount you could buy a full game. But you could also view it as not that much money, because that's like $12 a month. And if Hearthstone is your main game, it's your main entertainment, then $12 for a source of entertainment is not that much money. But if you play the game the way I played it, returning to it time to time, then it is really difficult to keep up without paying hundreds of dollars. When I was looking for ways to get more cards in Hearthstone, I found a lot of comments that sounded something like this. Hearthstone became too expensive, I now just play Legends of Runeterra or Gwent. In those you can have a big collection pretty cheaply, or for free. And I decided that maybe these whiny comments have a point, so I checked out Legends of Runeterra. And these are my first impressions. First of all, I found that the game is a little difficult to get into. It seems more complex than Hearthstone, which is a good thing, because one of the reasons I left Hearthstone was because I was getting bored with it, and I was looking for new mechanics. But it also feels like the game front-loads you with a lot of information in the tutorial already. After playing through it, I checked out some YouTube videos. And even those said that new players usually have a hard time getting into the game. But I will attempt to explain it to you quickly and simply. There are 3 main resources in the game: your cards, your mana, and the attack token. The cards are obvious. The mana works almost the same as it does in Hearthstone, except that you can save up to 3 mana for the next round, but you can only use those on spells. And then there is the attack token. The player who has it can attack that turn, and the other player can only block the attack. And in the next turn, they will switch, and the other player will have the attack token. The other difference between this game and Hearthstone is that in Hearthstone, you play all your cards, you spend all your mana, and you attack with all your minions, and then you pass the turn to the other player. But in this game, if you play a card, the other player gets to react to it, and they play a card, and then you get to play a card again, and you do this switching between the two of you until you both run out of cards to play or mana, or you just don't want to play any more cards. And now let's talk about the monetization. Since this is a first impressions video, I can't really make a judgment on how quickly you can collect all the cards in the game yet, but from what I have seen, the way you collect cards in the game is already better for the type of gameplay I like than Hearthstone is. Because in Hearthstone you can open card packs, and they have random cards in them. But in Legends of Runeterra, you have wild cards, and you turn a wild card into a specific card of equivalent rarity. For example, if you have a rare wild card, you can turn it into any rare card that you want. And now let's talk about what it's like to play the game. You actually start out with some default decks that the game gives you. I prefer to play with this one called Death and Spiders. Also, I played ranked mode and I got to the bronze 3 rank. The point of this deck is that you put a bunch of small units down and you have a very strong early game. But then honestly you kinda run out of steam. There are some big units in the deck, but by the time I had enough mana to play those, the opponent also started to have a strong board, and I just couldn't get through and damage the opponent's health. So now my thinking is that maybe I should put some big damage dealing spells in the deck, so I can finish off the opponent. Because I actually do a lot of damage in the early game, and I think I really just need that finishing blow. But I don't have that many cards yet, so I've only put 1 card into the deck at this point, because that was the only card that fit the description that I owned. and that was this card Atrocity. This card kills one of my units, but it deals its damage to the opponent's health. I thought this could be useful in situations like this one, where as you can see I have a big enough unit that could deal enough damage to kill the opponent, but the opponent also has some units, and they would be able to block my big unit. And I don't really care about him dying, as long as the opponent also dies. So I can use this spell in these kinds of situations, which is a situation I found myself in quite a few times playing this deck. So for now that's the direction I want to go towards. I'll probably experiment some more, maybe look at some decks or some videos online. Definitely going to play the game some more because I'm really enjoying it so far. And see you in the next video.